our Boss wing plow. This goes on most of our 1-ton dump trucks and other type vehicles that we hook up to 4x4Ys or regular pickup trucks that we have throughout the city of Hampton. We have this type that's the hinge part type that's inside the middle part here where the wings fold in on each side. And we also have a Western plow that's designed the same way, but it does not do nothing but rotate forward when it's overloaded. So this is the majority of the plows that you will see on the 1-ton dump trucks right here, our Boss plows. This section of the plow back here is where most of the work's done. These cylinders right here, these hydraulic cylinders, which actually actuates the plow to move forward and back on the left-hand side, which the control panel inside will show you all that. These particular skids that you see right down here are set for the plow blade itself down here for the adjustment on that. These washers that you see in there, even though they're rusty, they do come out and this thing moves up and down and you adjust accordingly. So as you're plowing and that blade's wearing out, you'll be substituting these washers above and below to make adjustments so that this doesn't ride directly on the ground, but we'll stop it 1 inch from going through our expansion joint areas on our bridges and throughout our roadways. That's how you actually adjust that. You actually have the hookup for the main power source right here. You have this red and black one that is your main power source to a pump that's involved inside of here. This runs all your plow lights and your truck lights also that are actually inside by a switch that you will see a throw switch inside. You see I have it tie wrapped on right here to keep it inside, to keep it locked in. This T-handle you see right here is to release the stand itself that's at the bottom to disengage the plow after you're done for the season. And you also have to take this loose right here and move it forwards, which holds a pin that keeps it locked in back here into the frame part of the plow. Now the same operation that you see right here is involved with the other operation on the other side. It's just on the right hand side of the vehicle, and on the plow itself it has the same adjustments. So the key points that we want to point out as far as the hinge places on this particular plow is the center pin, of course, which has a bolt and a pin that goes down through that makes it actually hinge. The actual bolts, the through bolts that go into your spring setup, the bolts for your cylinder setup, of course your adjustments for your plow blades, and all of the actual pins that pin all of this together have to be checked as part of before, during, and at the end of every shift. That way that you're ensured when you turn this vehicle over that your plow is in operating conditions. In this operating demonstration, we want to make sure that everybody knows what these are right here. These are actually our indicators for our plow blade on our outside edges. And we are now going to go ahead on and illustrate the operation of the plow by moving the right wing first forward. And now the right wing back. Now the left wing forward. And now the left wing back. All right, now we'll illustrate up and down, up and down. The key to getting this right from outside is set up at the beginning of every shift to where you have this thing plowing to the right. We always plow from left to right. You may have to have some assistance itself to get the plow in the direction that it needs to be, but these things work excellent in parking lots, driveway entrances, and other applications when you're helping out other divisions throughout with clearing of parking lots and other items. This is the main harness that plugs into the side of the truck right here by the cab by Mr. Massaro here, and it runs the back portion of the clutch area and the drive chain area on this back spreader. So it's pretty much a 7-prong plug that plugs in the side of the cab right here, and the switches and stuff like that we'll cover here in just a minute. We'll show you how to crank this thing from inside the truck and also from outside. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and then we're going to move to the back of the truck. That simple right there. Okay, we're at the rear of the vehicle now, and this particular spreader itself right here has a gasoline motor inside this box right here, which we use for primarily our smaller bridges, applications, parking lots, and so forth. I'm gonna bring in Mr. Spool right here, right now. We're gonna open this up and demonstrate the different angles and positions that your gate has to be in, and how to actually go through the looking of the chains, making sure everything's straight. So Mr. Sproul, please come get this other side. Okay, there is some assistance that needs to be done at the beginning of this right here, and the removal when it's time to close it back up. So get your help from your crew leader and participate in every aspect of this spreader itself. This is what we call a direct drive spreader. It's ran off two chains. One chain that runs off the motor down to a clutch assembly that's on the other side that actually drives the actual spreader down at the bottom. So there's two chains involved in this, an upper chain and a lower chain, which needs to be inspected. And every time you do this, to make sure that everything's running right and all the bearings and everything's moving, everything's lubricated up. This is your gate setting handle right here, which allows the gate that don't move, that sets your gate to set your amount of salt that you actually put out. So we usually run this gate right out about 1 to 1.5 inches, and then we'll just lock it right back down. And she'll stay right there. In the past, we've had problems with salt buildup in the back and clumps to where it gets down inside and causes a clog. And when you're not seeing salt, you're clogged up. You're gonna have to have a certain tool or a pin or something to bust it loose, to get it going, to get this drove down, to get restarted. All right, what we're gonna do now is go through the actual operations of cranking from the outside of the vehicle itself. Now remember, this motor will only crank if the power switch inside is turned on. So I can turn it over back here, but it will not crank. There's a choke mechanism that I gotta show you, and all 4 of the bearings. We have an issue right now with the bearing up front of the spreader itself, and Mark's gonna do something about showing you that in just a minute. All right, we're gonna go to the inside of the cab to show you where to turn this on at. All right, so now we move to the inside part of the vehicle right here. The top row that you're gonna be visually seeing beside that speaker right there, that Keith Passaro right here is showing you, that is for the rear cranking of the rear engine. So the first button that he's gonna push is the power button that will light up red. All right, the second button he will push will be the starter motor that's at the rear of the vehicle spreader. Go ahead and hit it, Keith. All right, you can hear that the spreader in the rear is running right now, so we're gonna shut it down. Just shut it off. There you go. And turn on the power switch for me one more time, Keith. Now hit the clutch switch. It's all the way over to the right. All right, that clutch switch is what engages the clutch back there that makes the actual chain and the spinner itself come on to distribute the salt. Now, because we're not back there, I'm not going to go through the whole storyline here of showing you how that works without being back there. We'll just go back there. The panel that's underneath, the switch panel that's underneath, is your plow operation. The plow operation switch is up and down. It's plainly written there which was which, and the right to left on the actual wing that you will be operating to get your angle for your plowing. This is a bad bearing that we're talking about on this unit that has to be replaced by our garage. This bearing has the whole shaft seized up all the way across and has the flight chain for the salt actually running across the shaft itself. This is an issue that has to be addressed before snow season, during snow season, and at the end of our snow season. Therefore, this is a problem, an issue at this point in time. We're gonna crank this from the outside of the vehicle back here. When you're by yourself or you're on a road alone and maybe you run out of gas and you come in the shop and you have to get your gas and you kind of have to choke it because it's so cold outside. You're gonna reach right up in here, and right here is the choke. You can see the little piece that's moving on top of the carburetor right here. All right, but what you'll do is you'll push that choke and push this starter button right here. During that demonstration, this actual flight chain up here that was direct drive to this clutch assembly, here's your clutch assembly right here. comes down through the actual transmission case right here, which runs the underneath side of this chain right here that drives your spinner. At that point in time, the clutch was on, the spinner was running, and so was the flight chain to bring the salt out. So really and truthfully, that's just about everything it has to do with this motor. Of course, remember, always check the oil, always check the fuel, and always be ready for adverse conditions.